Welcome to 6.8's Math Moment. Today students looked at more word problems in real-world situations, but today they looked at problems that have two different steps in them that they need to solve one step at a time. So they had to write out an equation, and in some of these problems they needed to use a parentheses, which means that they need to do that step first. So we're going to look at the first example. It says, at the gift shop, Allison purchased 6 balloons for $2.13 each. Well, I know that if I got 6 for $2.13 each, to find out how much I have, I'm going to have to multiply. So I'm going to write that down because I know that I'll need to do that at some point in my problem. And she bought a vase of flowers for $45.89. She just bought one vase, $45.89. How much did Allison pay? Well, I know that I'm going to need to do this part first because I don't have just one number for that problem. I need to figure out what is that as just one number before I can add it with the other purchase she made of the flowers and the vase. So I know that I'm going to be adding this in because it's going to include part of her total, but I need to figure this out first. So that's where the parentheses come in place. I need to solve that chunk of the problem first before I can add in the $45.89. So I'm going to go ahead and take $2.13 times 6 off to the side. Remember, when we're working with multiplying decimals, we just ignore the decimal and multiply like we normally would. 6 times 3 is 18. I carry my 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 6 times 2 is 12. I've got two numbers behind the decimal in my problem, so I need two numbers behind the decimal in my answer for a final answer of $12.78. Now, I'm still not done. I need to add in the $45.89 to get to my final answer. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in here. $45.89 plus $12.78. 9 plus 8 is 17. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 7 is 16. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And then I have 4 plus 1, which is 5. I get a total of $58.67 for my answer. So again, a two-step problem. I had to multiply first before I could add that in with the rest of my answer. So example 2 says, the small auditorium has 50 rows with 20 seats in a row. Alright, now we tell students that even though this A is just a little word and we use it all the time, in math it's the same as each or per, which helps us work with multiplication. So I've got 50 rows, and in each one, in one row, there's 20 seats. The ticket sales reported that 126 seats were sold by 5 o'clock. So how many seats were not filled? Alright, so I'm going to have to do a couple of things. First, I need to figure out how many total seats I have. And to do that, I'm going to have to take 50 times 20. Now, I know that whatever my total is for my seats, whatever I find for that answer, then I've got 126 of those seats that are filled. So I'm looking for what is not filled. I'm looking for what's left over, how many are left that are open. So that word not helps me know I'm working with subtraction. So first I need to figure out how many total seats. I'm going to take away the ones that are filled to know how many are not filled. So first I need to do 50 times 20. You might remember from a few units ago that we have a zeros trick. If you just take those zeros off and just do 5 times 2, which is 10, then you just add the 2 zeros back on. So 50 times 20 is 1,000. And then I'm going to subtract 126. Now I put the parentheses in place here to help me know I need to do that first. I have to find the total number of seats before I can subtract the filled seats. So it makes sense and it helps students know, do this part of the problem first. And that way they don't try to group together the 20 and the 106 or the 50 and the 126. So to think about it each in two separate problems. Alright, I cannot do 0 minus 6, so I'm going to have to borrow all the way over from this 1. That would make this 0 a 10, but I have to borrow from it, making it a 9. That makes this 0 a 10, but I have to borrow from it, making it a 9, which makes this last 0 a 10, and it gets left alone because no one's borrowing from it. 10 minus 6 becomes 4, 9 minus 2 becomes 7, 9 minus 1 becomes 8, and then I have a 0 left. So I have 874 seats that are not filled. Problems with more than one step, so double steps, 2 steps are really tricky for students sometimes to wrap their mind around. So make sure that you ask your teacher if you have any questions about this lesson.